Big dog.
Yeah, we back, guys. Welcome to Big Talk, episode 15. If I'm not
15?
mistaken.
We made it.
And we have a guest today, my boy Jesus.
Hey.
Jesus, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hey, yeah. So my name's Jesus Sam Martin. I'm an engineer, recording mixing engineer, a producer. Currently working out of Lounge Studios. So yeah,
Dope.
that's
And
me.
we have Indigo as well.
Yeah. Big talk. We back
Hey.
after a short hiatus. We here though, baby.
Yeah.
We back for y'all. Here with
We
a, with a special
we
guest.
working. We took a little, like you said, hiatus. We were wrapping up summer. Indigo went to Italy. So after that, I'm like, you know what? Screw this, man. I'm not shooting no more. Now I'm playing. But we were basically, that's where we ended up last time. Like right before you left, and then
Mhm.
summer was basically ending. You came back.
We had to
we-
reassess things. You
Yeah.
know, get certain things in order. We wanted to get a guest like already for a while. Like we had mentioned in certain big talks like we wanted to get a guest already for a little while, but you know we I feel like through us trying to do it every week and shit like that, we kind of like we'll lose track of like, oh shit, yeah, we wanted to get a guest, but we have to get it done. So we were kind of like all over the place. So we had to take a time to reassess, make sure that Big Talk is the best quality for you guys, and we here back again with a guest like we intended to. So Jesus, how you feeling, man?
I'm good, bro. I'm feeling good. Yeah, fresh off vacation, so I'm feeling refreshed, recharged, ready.
How was your vacation? Where'd you go?
So I was at Washington State. I was like this city called Woodinville. It's like 30 minutes from Seattle. It's really like like very like woodsy lake. So it's very 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 nice, very relaxing. It's very complete contrast then from the city.
Yeah.
So for me it was refreshing.
It was
you
your
know?
first time there.
Yeah, I never been up there for sure.
So what was it? You had like family over
yeah,
there.
so basically it was my buddy's wedding. He's in the Navy, so he's stationed out there in Seattle. Yeah, so he was, he got married, and it was, I was not gonna miss his wedding.
That's what's up, man.
You know,
Sounds like a
for
good
no
time,
reason.
like a good way to like decompress, fucking get out of the city, man.
Yeah.
Everybody knows how New York could be.
Yeah, That's exactly the main point. Being in the city, working every day, it gets so hectic. So that I definitely needed that.
This was the first time you kind of like stepped out of the city after everything that's going on with 2020. After
Yeah, I think so actually. Yeah. This is
Shit,
actually my
damn.
first time. Yeah, since like post COVID, which was really 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 nice for me.
yeah, because you've been grinding nonstop.
Yeah,
Even-
But I feel like this is the whole point, like you grind for so
True.
long to like to be able to enjoy, like
Facts,
peacefully,
right?
okay, like
Yeah, and then when you finally do those things, you finally stepped out.
and you get to treat yourself because you grind so much,
Yeah.
so you're able to, been able to save up and all that stuff, so you could treat yourself really nice to a nice trip.
Exactly.
You know.
Yeah.
That's what's
That's
up.
dope.
Jesus, you from New York originally?
No, I'm from Jersey. So I was born in Peru, but
Born in Peru?
Yeah, I was born in Peru, and then my mother brought me here when I was like I think like 4 or 5. So so I don't remember much. I've been there a
That's
couple
crazy.
times, but not
Are,
not-
are both of your parents Peruvian?
Yeah, both of my parents Peruvian. I live in the same town as my mother, so I see my mom very often. Yeah, and I grew up in Jersey my whole life.
What part of Jersey?
So I live in Prospect Park, which is like it's a very small town. Nobody probably heard of it. It's like this whole like this length of the town is a mile long, so it's very very tiny. We're like 2 towns over from this city called Patterson,
Mhm.
which is
Yeah.
people probably heard about
Yeah.
Patterson. So that's usually my reference point, So I live like close to Patterson.
How would you say it's growing up? Like, how was it growing up?
So
in
I
that part of
basically
Jersey?
so I grew up in Patterson since I was like 11 or 12, and then we moved to Prospect Park, which I kind of I call Prospect Park my home because I don't really care for much under like 10 or 12. I don't really remember much, but yeah, I grew up like whole high school. Like most of my friends are all from that neighborhood, from Prospect Park. So it's a very small town, so you know what's going on where everybody everyone
yeah.
kind of knows each other.
What kind of like teenager would you say you were like in school? Like what?
I used to get in trouble a lot actually. Yeah, I used to get in trouble a lot.
You used to talk a lot.
No, not even talk a lot. I was just very rebellious, I guess, in a way, like to like authority at some point, because I used to get kicked out. I used to get suspended a lot.
Yeah.
Like I used to give my mom a hard time. Like I definitely stressed her out a lot. Which you don't like now. If you met me, like you're like, oh,
Yeah.
Jesus, so, it's so
Yeah,
You would have
calm.
never
Like
thought that.
yeah, I don't talk too much, but yeah, I was pretty much a troublemaker, which I regret, because like I didn't have to put like my mother through all of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, like even bad, where like she like will kick me out the house, kind of thing. That's how. Like,
Yo, I feel like that's almost like that's one of the traits that you could be sure like that person might be an artist or something like that.
You
know
think
what I
so?
mean? I feel because I at least for
Really?
me that I was definitely giving my mom a hard time. Like
you a troublemaker?
oh,
You do not seem like a troublemaker.
not that I was a troublemaker. I never liked authority. Like I always had an issue with authority, and even to this day, in my own way. But I feel like through my issues with authority, it helped me see things from a different perspective.
But
know
you
what I'm
think your issue with authority was because you just didn't want to listen to it, or is it the way that people were using their authority on you?
saying? Maybe like a mixture of both. To
Really?
be honest, yeah. It was kind of like always a thing. But like I was saying, like I feel like that's almost an artist thing because like I feel like for me, seeing the people that I went to in high school and seeing
Yeah.
like the ones who were like similar to me or the ones getting in trouble and stuff like that, they had like an alternate path from like the person that's going to school to like
That makes
go
sense.
go
Actually.
and be a doctor,
put it
go and
like
be
that.
this. Like
Yeah.
these are people that couldn't necessarily be held in this box. And as an artist, that's like one of the main things. You don't want to be put in a box. You want to continue to explore and different things. I don't know, just kind of
No,
like
that
interesting.
that I
Yeah.
never looked at it that way, but
Kinda, yeah, it is
that,
interesting,
that
yeah.
definitely makes sense now. Like, okay, now I know I was a piece of shit.
Well, of course, it could have been like that for a multitude of reasons, but I don't know. That's kind of one of the things that I suspect. Like, that could be because
So
we
I-
artists.
I have a question. Were you like because I know you play soccer.
Yeah.
Kind of like active. So were you like that growing up too? Were you into sports? Or?
Yeah, I was definitely play soccer up till like 8th grade, but then I got into high school, and I guess I just wanted to be cool. And then my neighborhood, soccer wasn't the cool thing,
Mm.
It wasn't, the cool thing was like basketball. So I tried.
Yeah.
I tried out for the basketball team, but like I didn't go back after the conditioning because it was so terrible. Like
Damn.
it was
But
intense.
if I heard that if you're a soccer player, like you have a lot of stamina.
Yeah, but so after high school, and and I got rid of that
Oh, I see, I
immature
see.
mentality, I started playing soccer again, but like I
Mm.
do regret not playing for the high school team, because like I loved it. I just didn't. I honestly did not play because I thought it wasn't cool to play
Mm.
soccer.
Wait, so you still play soccer?
Yeah, I play soccer.
How often you play?
I play every weekend.
Hey, that's
Yeah, I
fire,
play.
man.
I mean, I need that though, bro.
Yeah.
Like I'm in the desk all day, so
Mhm.
like I need some type of
I hear you
physical.
on
Yeah.
that. I hear you.
Yeah,
We always
yeah.
talk about similar things like that where we need that balance between these things.
Even if it's one day, because obviously you would like to make it more, like a routine, like 3 days. But if you could
Yeah.
get at least one day a week, like you should do it.
Would you say you're nice at soccer?
I'm okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm,
How long would you say it took you to get to the level you are in soccer?
probably like my whole life.
Yeah.
I'm not. I'm very smart, like on the field. If that makes sense. Like my soccer IQ is really
Fire.
up there. I'm not. I'm not the fastest. I could dribble okay, but I feel like my IQ is what makes me like.
So I gotta fuck with you. I actually been wanting to learn how to play soccer. That's one of the goals that I put for myself.
Bro, you
this
should
past
come
summer.
out play
I'll
with
fuck
us.
with you,
Yeah,
for sure.
We play every weekend. My friends play every weekend, but I usually play on Sunday because that's usually when I'm free.
Yeah,
And some days I'm free on Saturday.
But
But
gonna make it happen. Look at
Yeah,
that shit
definitely.
happening during Big Talk.
Yeah, for real. So earlier we were talking about before we started recording, we were talking about how we kind of like met up at how we met at lounge.
Oh yeah.
And it's interesting because we all kind of like had like our own little beginning, kind of like stages at lounge. Because you began as an artist recording professionally at a studio at lounge, right? That was your first professional studio. And I was in that session where I met Jay Sounds. Shout out to Jay Sounds, one of our boys too.
Yeah.
So I met Jay Sounds because he was engineering. And then fast forward later on, I started interning there. And then Jesus comes along as an intern, and then he became an engineer there. So it's like it's
Full
crazy. So
circle.
like
Yeah.
So
lounge is basically.
lounge is really important, like in all of our lives, pretty
Yeah,
much. It's
exactly.
like a big part of us. How does it feel to be part of the team? After all those years, you're still there.
Oh,
you know?
I love it. I feel like that's one of the main things I like. It's just the family aspect of it.
Yeah.
Knowing that if I have questions about anything, if I'm in doubt of something, if I want to make something better, I have other great engineers, like you. Hey, Louis, how do you do this? Or I have
Mm.
Blue,
Yeah, yeah,
shout out to Blue. I'm very blessed, lucky that I get to have him, as a mentor, and I could just ask him,
yeah.
any questions because he
Yeah,
wants to.
or
He
even Wall, like
or even
you could
yeah,
still
even
bump into
even what?
Wall or
Yeah,
ask
but
him any
he's a
questions.
busy man, so like I try to not
Yeah,
bother him. But yeah, of course, I know if I like call him about a question, he's gonna be there for me.
yeah.
So
But it's
that's
good to have that, that he has the knowledge of that, because not only is he the owner, but he also does all the things that,
he
and he
knows that
did all the
he
things that
knows
we
that
did.
he's
Yeah, yeah,
actually
exactly.
he's a great
So
mixing
like that,
engineer.
that's good to have that, as
Yeah.
opposed to like some jobs that you might, you might work and somebody's like, yeah, it's the owner, but that person is not even like,
Put
there's
in the
no
work. Yeah.
connection between. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I love the family aspect of my lounge. Everyone's amazing there, so I'm very blessed to be part of the family.
Do you have any like specific session that like kind of like sticks out for you, like either like a big artist or just a session that you enjoyed recently that
Shit.
you could remember off the top of your head?
I mean, my one of my best experience, which taught me a lot early on, like maybe 2016, 17. I don't remember the year, but it was a couple years ago. I had a session with Kehlani, which
Mm,
I was, she was one of like the one of the first big artists that I got to work with, and I was
nice.
very nervous just because, it's like a superstar and
Yeah.
like but then she came in for the sessions, total sweetheart, bro, and made me comfortable, bro. She was such
Wow,
a
that's dope.
down to earth human, like just common things that people forget nowadays, like
Yeah,
please, thank you, things like
yeah,
that. That I appreciate a lot, and like that just showed me that like even like the biggest artists are very humble
yeah, yeah.
and
Sometimes you can't just go based off like what
exactly,
people
like
might say or
yeah. Because
what you
in my
might
head, I'm
think.
like, damn, what
Yeah.
if she's like mean or some shit, and I just have to just shut up.
Yeah, I feel like
Yeah.
we always, as an engineer, we always kind of like, when we have a session coming up, we're like, what type of session is this gonna be?
Yeah, you
Is
overthink
yeah,
stuff
yeah,
and then
right?
and preps you for the wrong stuff. Like if
Exactly.
I knew that, I would have been, more chill and like
Yeah.
wouldn't have to stress myself out.
But the good thing about engineering, I feel like you could probably relate to that. Is like the more you do it, it's like it's practice, practice,
Oh
practice, getting
yeah,
those hours in.
for sure.
So like
Yeah.
the more you do it, like the more confident you grow in it, like the easier things become. So like you also just gotta remember it's a mental thing. So you gotta remember like, yo, I'm good. Like I'm gonna do great. Like I'm a good engineer type
Yeah,
thing.
but
Yeah.
that also comes with practice and
Yeah,
like
yeah,
hard work,
exactly. Yeah.
So if you work at what you do and you do it so often, you're gonna
Yeah.
become confident. So
Exactly.
I feel like that goes hand in hand. If you work hard, you're gonna be confident at some point, because
Yeah.
you do it so much.
Yeah. Would you say that's like where you feel like you're at right now? Cause
I'm very confident, but still, I still get nervous sometimes before a session, just because like I care, like
yeah,
people
yeah,
people
bro.
spend their money, and I want to make sure they get their money's worth, and it's
Of
people's
course.
projects, people personal songs, which I know you as an artist could understand. Like to us, some engineers just might be work, but to the artists, like they're fucking put their feelings in it, so it's like to them it's special. So to us, we should be special too, because
Yeah.
it's very vulnerable to be an artist, which I something I respect because I could never be so vulnerable like that in front of people, and I
Yeah.
respect it a lot. So I treat them with respect.
That's what's
So I
up.
know I have to bring the best out of their song with whatever I can.
It's dope. As though at what point did you start? Like, you start with music? Was it something that you've been doing since you were a teenager? Like, what? How did you start into it?
No, so I was just so I finished high school and then I was completely undecided. I was just going to school. I was going to community college at that time. And I think I was my major was like business or something or financial advisor or something. I don't remember the exact uh that I had. So then I noticed I was wasting my time. Like I was just wasting. It was like a year in. I was just completely wasting it. So I knew like at that time I had to do something like that's worth my time. So I started looking into audio schools and stuff and I don't think my mother didn't really support at the time because she's very like she's old school
Yeah,
so
yeah,
she thinks she wants you to do something that's gonna for sure provide, which
yeah,
audio provides, but it's not very certain. It's a
yeah.
thing that you have to either be lucky or you be really really good. Um, so yeah, so then I went for a tour of audio school in the city called IAR. I don't think it exists anymore. It used to be on Union Square,
Mm.
and then I just went, and then yeah, I gave a tour. I liked it. It was really expensive, and so I didn't really have the funds. So I ended up just taking, and then obviously my mother, she didn't really want to help, which rightfully so. She it's her money. She didn't see it like it was worth it. So I just took out like a loan, and I just did it and went for it.
Nice.
Dope,
So
man.
you did sign up for the school?
Yeah, so I did sign
That's
up,
fire.
and then I finished like a year later, and then long story short, I finished. They helped me out get an internship at another studio in Jersey called Kaleidoscope. It's in Union City. I learned a lot. I got lucky there too. They hired me for like 2-3 months
Dope,
after
dope.
engineering. I became the assistant engineer.
That's
And I was
fire.
working there 5 days a week, Monday through Friday. And then, but I still like wanted to do more. So then I looked at other studios. Like I remember I applied for Quad and I applied to Lounge just as an intern because I was working there. So I had the weekends free. So I wanted to do, just be busy. So then I signed up to Lounge, and then they hired me as an intern. So I was interning there Saturday and Sunday, and then working at the other studio, Kaleidoscope, Monday through Friday.
Put in that work,
Wow.
put in
Yeah.
hours in.
That's pretty good.
So then, like 2-3 months later, Lounge offered me a job as a recording engineer on the 16th floor of Vanilla Sky. It's like must have been back in like 2015, I think. I don't really.
That's fresh when it opened up.
Yeah,
too.
I'm bad with dates, so I don't really remember the date. And then they offered me. So then I ended up quitting Kaleidoscope and then working at Lounge full time. Yeah,
Fire.
and now I'm here.
Shit, man. That hustle, you put in that work to get where you are now.
Yeah,
Super dope.
for sure. Yeah, and even when I was Lounge, I went to I went to school too. Like I was doing I went to William Patterson University, and then I got my bachelor's there too while I was working at Lounge. So it also helped me.
Wow.
So
Very good.
at what point did you start getting interested in production?
Like music production.
Yeah.
That was honestly the main thing why I got into audio, because I really like production, but the quality wasn't there for me, and so that's when I went into engineering because of that. So, and then I ended up getting good at it. So I just got good at it, and then that just became my main focus for a bit, just to get really good at engineering. But yeah, production is like basically what started it all.
Just going back to how you were saying how you kind of like had like you were a little bit you gave your mom a little bit of trouble like growing
Oh
up.
yeah.
Do you feel like as you got older you kind of like channel that into like music, or like some of it into sports, some of it into music? Because I feel like once you reach like a certain age, you just really
mature.
got like you got
Yeah.
really focused into the music. I feel like you put that energy into the music. Do you ever like?
I never looked at it that way, but I guess that could be, that
Mm.
that could be. You're probably right.
Yeah, because like how you said, I would never would have thought that you
Yeah, I
that
was
you mad
definitely.
quiet.
Yeah, no, I was definitely trouble. I mean, well, mostly, honestly, it just made me feel bad, because like even, I could have been a much
Mm.
nicer, teenager to my mother. I could definitely. So I mean, maybe I could just like being able to like pay her back and be like, like
Mm.
being grateful, for her patience and stuff.
Okay,
But yeah,
I got you. I understand.
maybe work hard for that.
What kind of music were you listening to? Like, what was your favorite music back in your like teenage years, maybe your early years? What were you listening
in
to?
high school, I used to listen to like gangster rap. Like I
Yeah.
used to listen to
Like West Coast type shit?
no, not even like New York kind of gangster
Mm.
rap. Like I would listen to the Locks. I'll
Yeah,
listen
yeah.
to like D Block. I'll listen to like Dipset, like Cameron, Jewels. Like that was like my type of
Yeah.
music growing. That's the only thing I listened to.
Would you say that inspired your style of production, or like where were you
Nah,
compared?
it's funny. Like now, my preference genre to make is R&B.
Oh,
So,
yeah?
which is completely different.
How did you get into like production of R&B? Was it like at some point you heard this R&B artist, was like, oh shit, I want to make
Nah,
something like that?
not even. It's just I feel like the older I got, the more mature I got, and and I started diving more into R&B, and I would start obviously with the current R&B, but then also go back to like old school R&B, like I don't know, 112,
Yeah, classics.
Sade, just all types of
Yeah.
things, and then it made me even love R&B more, because
Yeah.
like at teenage, like it's weird, like people, people catch me listening to Sade,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
people look
yeah.
at me funny, people. So like I mature in that aspect. So like once I grew up a little bit, I ended up going back and listening to like really good classic R&B, and it just made me fall in love. And I'm very big on like chord progression. Like
Okay.
so that's why very like basically I like R&B because like they have like the best chord progressions
Yeah.
ever.
Sets a mood.
Yeah, it's such like you hear like a certain chord, it just like makes you feel like like something in your belly.
Wait, so R&B, right? So that was what you would play. I mean, my bad. Like gangster rap when you were a teenager, that's what you would play. So that's what you would have in your headphones and shit like
Yeah,
that.
exactly.
But what, like at that time, let's say maybe even when you were younger, what was playing in the house? Like, what was your mom playing? Like, what kind of music were your family listening to?
So my mom, she's Peruvian, so she'll be playing her cumbia and stuff.
Yeah.
Like that's her thing. But honestly, my family, my mother, they're not very music oriented.
Mm.
They're not. So it's a surprise to her too, because like it's not like anyone in our family like grew up in music or any part of the music business or industry.
It's
So
interesting.
it's very surprised. Yeah, it's completely out of left field. Like I'm the first one to ever be in the music business, music industry.
That's
Okay,
fire.
Yeah,
dope.
so it's nothing I can say. Yeah, my mom put this. I'll be lying to you.
Yeah, yeah.
They didn't really inspire. I know what she likes. But it wasn't really inspiring.
Did you enjoy it when you would hear this being played, or was it something like
No,
like,
yeah, I would enjoy it.
Yeah.
I enjoy it now, though. I
even
appreciate it
more?
more.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, like even she used to listen to like old school bachatas, and like I didn't really appreciate it much. But now like I love Juan Luis Guerra. Like I love that kind of thing
Yeah,
now. But I feel like the older I got, the more I appreciated stuff.
Dope,
Nice.
man,
For
dope.
sure.
I feel like that's the same with all of us too.
Right?
Like,
Yeah.
sometimes as we were growing up, we might be like, especially in Hispanic households, like waking up to music at Saturday morning, like, when you're like off from school and your mom is like about to clean and she blasting the radio. We low key hated that because it's like, oh, wake us up. But, as you get older, you're like, damn, like, I remember those times. Those were good times, man. Like, I remember that song. My mom used to play that when she used to start cleaning. Like, all those things just bring back like great memories
Yeah,
that
for
you're like,
sure.
You start to understand the songs even more now that you're
Yeah,
older.
exactly.
Because like some shit you just can't get until you get to the point where you have certain experiences. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
See, this is interesting. It brings me back to remember we were having this conversation like this week, I think, or a week ago. We were having the conversation how like remember we were talking about if you heard the Drake and the Kanye album.
Yeah, yeah.
And we're like, and I think I told you, I'm like, yeah, I kind of like, I wanted to listen to them because I felt like I didn't want to get left behind on this. Like, I feel like it's hysteric, like
Historic, yeah.
historic, yeah. Even if whatever these albums may not be seen as that great, but the fact that they both dropped like back to back, I felt like I had to like listen to these albums just to like to absorb all of that is going on right now, especially because I look back at earlier stages in my life, and it's like I was so busy doing other things, like whether it was like while I was interning or working other jobs, that like I kind of like miss a lot of those things. Like I miss Drake albums releases, like I missed listening to those albums fresh when they came out. And I feel like now that I got older, I'm like, you know what? It's kind of like important to like just listen to the music and absorb it with everything that's going on around there, because you get to understand more of the audience, not the audience, but like the artist, and what's the picture that artist was trying to portray with the album that they released.
Very true.
So I feel like what we were talking about right now, it kind of like it brings me back to that. Like when we were younger, we weren't necessarily like paying attention to the music, but looking back at it, those songs that you will hear your mom play like Saturday morning, or you will hear down in the bodega. Those were songs that were hits back then, and it's like people were vibing to that. People were partying to those songs at the end of the day.
There's a reason for that too. That artist had a whole story behind them and shit like that.
But it's so beautiful how like music connects like so many people like through generations. Like it's just beautiful, man.
Who would you say like your inspirations are now, like when it comes to like production or even artists, where it's like you hear one of their beats or you hear one of their songs, you're like, oh shit, like it makes you want to get up and like make something.
I feel like 40 inspires me a lot.
Yeah.
Like OVO 40, he just cause also too like I'm a little biased because he has like also engineer background.
Yeah.
So like to me that's like I could relate. I could relate about the sonics. Like shaving out certain parts of the beat so the vocal could fit. Like I understand that.
Yeah.
And then he puts a lot of feel in his music. It's very like mellow and very like just chord driven, spacey, which I love that kind of stuff. So yeah, I feel like 40, but I'm there's other inspirations. Like everyone. Like Kanye. You have Kanye. You have 40. You have Dre. Magic Jordan. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Magic Jordan. I love their sound a lot. So it's very like it's very like small producers that people probably never heard of. That I like S2. He's like a French producer. I enjoy his sounds a lot. He has very very special like it's very melodic and very chord driven as well. So stuff artists
Magic
like that.
Jordan, they still doing music? I haven't heard.
Yeah,
some of
they
their recent stuff.
just dropped a song.
A few years ago, they were like their music was completely like I'm like damn, like this is different. Like
No,
it was
I
never-
love their sound. I love the Jordan is the producer, and I love that guy makes some good ass music for sure.
I never heard of him. I gotta check that out.
Yeah,
Got some
yeah,
homework to do.
it's a Magic Jordan. Yeah, they're dope.
That's dope. So your thing, like you had mentioned already, your thing is like chord progression and stuff like that. So you're really into the actual music of shit. Like, would you like? How would you like for your work specifically? Do you feel like you rather create something from scratch, or do you also like including other elements, like in terms of how would I say, in terms of production, like also sampling and stuff like that? Like, is that something that you're also interested in, or
Yeah.
do you like one over the other? Like, how does that work for you?
Yeah, I sampled, like, I tend to sample like older songs or like just vocals and stuff. But yeah, I feel like it's a mixture of both. And I feel like that's the part where like I enjoy collaborating with other producers, like because it makes me get out my comfort zone, because I'll usually just make R&B beats, and like especially working with Lewis. I love producing with Lewis because he's talented as fuck, and it brings out a certain aspect of you, that you might like. There's certain production I've done with Lewis that like I wouldn't have done it by myself.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
you get what I'm saying?
I
And
get
like
you.
I
Yeah,
feel like that's special, but at the same time, like I'm very like shy and stuff, so like I don't work with that many people. There's only a certain people that I co-produce with, and it's not because of any other reason, just because I feel comfortable
yeah,
with
yeah,
Lewis.
yeah,
Like I know if like I mess up or like I do an offbeat snare or I don't do it right, like he's not gonna judge me.
yeah, yeah,
We're gonna help each other out, and
yeah,
like
yeah.
so
Like you guys are able to get in the zone without having to worry about anything
yeah,
else.
it's like when it's like judgment zone.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
Like he
yeah.
doesn't judge me. I don't. I feel comfortable. That's why I don't really produce with that many people. There's only a couple of people I produce with: Louis, Misha, Jay Sounds, and like
Mark.
Mark. Yeah, and that's about it, honestly, because I feel comfortable with those
yeah.
guys.
I hear you on that,
And
man.
I could be myself. And then that's when the best shit comes out. I don't know if I do the same for them. I hope, but yeah,
Yeah.
but yeah,
Nah, I feel like when we work together with this, we already have that chemistry where like
yeah,
we kind of like understand like the roles that we could play,
yeah,
how we can
exactly.
move the production forward.
Exactly. And we're open to it. Like if I tell you something, you're gonna be like, yeah, let's try it. If you
Yeah,
tell me
yeah,
something, be like,
yeah.
yeah, let's try it. Because we trust each other, and like that's special. I wish I could be like not shy and be able to work with anybody and everybody, but I'm not. I'm not
Mm.
there. I don't feel comfortable. I don't think I
I
need.
feel like,
I need to right now, man. Hopefully
yeah,
soon.
no
But
about. Will you say because I feel like one of the great things about engineering is that I get to work with different artists, hear different sounds, different genres.
yeah,
Do you think the way that I think is like I feel like that definitely like helps with my sound catalog when it comes to production, or even when I engineer another session, I could be like, hey, I learned how to do this through like another artist. Let me show this artist that they could do this to like help them like either like record
no,
better or whatever it is. Do
thousand
you feel like
percent.
that's helping you as a producer?
Yeah, as a producer, I feel like being an engineer, like I get so much little like little tips and like
Yeah.
I just grab stuff from everybody, and like even the way someone might do a certain harmony, or the way someone might
Yeah.
might do or they might ask me for it, try this, and I'm like, yeah, and it sounds good, so you
Yeah.
can trust the art and be like, oh shit, that I'm gonna run with that, I'm gonna
Yeah.
use that again
Yeah.
in a different session. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I learn from everybody, bro. Anybody, like from artists, interns, engineers, producers. Like I pick up stuff from wherever, whatever I think sounds dope. I'm gonna use it again. So if
That's
you show me
fire.
something dope, I'm probably gonna keep it and use
Yeah.
it again.
That's good.
There's
That's
no
good.
shame in me. In me, like I'm ready to
Yeah.
learn, keep
That's the
learning.
way it should be. Yeah, because
Yeah,
it's like that's the only way to elevate your sound. Like you said, like sometimes we learning things from artists. Like sometimes it be artists that you could tell they don't have that long recording, but somehow I don't know. Maybe they've been recording themselves and they learn a trick on YouTube and
and
they're
it
like, "Yo, try
works.
this." And I'm like, "Oh, wow, that's cool."
I'm definitely trying. No, a
It's
thousand
like, yeah, you
percent.
got to be open to try those things.
Yeah, I just want to get better. I just want to get better and better and better.
It's dope what you said. Like you mentioned being open. I feel like that's the reason why you guys are able to do that. You guys are able to like when you get in those zones together and being comfortable with each other is because you guys have a level of openness that you guys are comfortable with being with each other, and that's able to elevate whatever it is that you're doing. Like I know you guys are just talking about like working with artists and learning things from
Yeah,
other people, but that also that openness translates to everything else you're doing. And I
Yeah.
feel like in music in general, being open, like I can't write a song if I'm not open. Like I'm not open to the
Mhm.
inspiration. I'm not open to the words coming to me. At the end of the day, like I'm sitting here breaking my head trying to get the words or whatever. Like it come at. I feel like in music it comes to you, but you have to have a certain level of openness. So it's dope to hear
Absolutely right.
how you guys relate to that as well. Because as an artist, I can also relate to that. That's super dope.
Mhm.
Especially yeah, as an
Yeah,
artist,
Hmm.
like I said, like respect to artists, bro. There's so much vulnerability in there for sure.
it's big true, big fact.
Is that big true?
True, big fact.
So at the moment, like, is there like a specific project you're working on or artist you're excited about that you're working with? Like, what's going on with your like personal projects?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of up and coming artists, that I'm enjoying working with. Top of my head, like this super time I'm working with my friend. He's like, very, very, very close friend of mine, my friend Misha. We're working on his project. It's sounding amazing.
Shout out Misha.
Super proud of him. We're working on that
So,
too. Um, we also been working with Nene too. Nene
Yeah,
is super dope artist.
shout out Nene.
Super
Nino
talent,
Ortiz, right?
Nene Ortiz. Yeah,
Shout out to him.
super talented guy. So it's a pleasure working with him. Yeah, it's
What's
mostly
up,
yeah,
man?
yeah.
that's
That's dope.
fire, man.
You always gotta. Sometimes you like gotta keep that different plates open and shit like that of things that you
Yeah,
do because shit like you were talking about earlier how you were used to like you basically working on music 7 days a week. You was
Yeah.
working at a studio, then you had 2 days. So like in turn, I could relate to that a lot too because like for me like even on my days off, I find ways to like add to my music stuff. Like I'll give myself a day off, but like that day I might be like editing photos or editing
So
a
you still do
video.
some type of music related
Exactly.
work,
Yeah, there's always like some type of work to be done. So
but
like
you also need like a break though, bro.
for sure,
It's
yeah.
also that's like very important. Like because
yeah.
then you just crash or then you just
How often do you give yourself a
I've
break?
been actually learning to do that more, more often now, talking, just with other engineers and yeah, especially Louis, he always tells me too, like work hard, but you also, gotta relax for a second. Just because,
Yeah.
you end up getting burnt out, and then at that time you're also hurting whoever you're working with because,
Yeah,
you're not
that's true.
giving them, you're 100% you because you're burnt out.
Yeah, that's
So
true,
it's,
man.
so it's definitely a very smart thing to find a balance, it's very important. I feel like, which is is easier said than done, but it's something that I've been trying my hardest to work at having some type of balance. Sure.
Is
That's
there,
fine.
is there anything you're like striving to right now? Like, is there a certain type of? I mean, you don't have to share it with the audience or anything, but just in case you do, like, is there any type of goal that you have for yourself where you're like, there's something that you're aiming for or anything right now at the
Yeah, I
moment?
mean, to put everything in a nutshell, I wanna be able to have like more control. If that makes sense. Like I wanna get to a point where like I can pick and choose who I want to work with. I can pick and choose. Okay, I only want to work.
Mm,
Because I'm able to.
yeah,
Either
yeah.
financially or just creatively. I want to be able to decide with who I want to work with and the times I want to work with. But I feel
Fire.
like that takes a certain amount of work that you have to put in. To get there. So I feel like that's what I'm working towards right now. I'm working my ass off just so I could be able to do that someday. You know.
It's fire,
Oh,
man.
this is a question I like asking at the end of the podcast, just because I feel like it's something that's um, gonna give a lot of value to whoever is listening to it. Because I feel like as humans, period, we have a lot of value to give each other. Like we have a lot of gems that maybe you're a little bit ahead in something, that, or just you have a little bit more knowledge in something that
Yeah.
than somebody else may have. And I feel like it's needed because like these days like fucking OGs and shit like that. You like our OGs are like our parents. Like there's not there the people that we look up to are already in such high positions. So in terms of like having guidance for what we're doing, like it's a little bit few and far in between. But when we do get that, that's very valuable. So I feel like as somebody who's following their dreams, at both of you, all of us,
All of us, yeah.
somebody who's following our dreams, like we have a lot of value to give to the 14-year-old, the 12-year-old, the even the 25-year-old person who is really thinking about doing what they want to do. That was a long-winded way for me to get
Hmm.
into the question, which is if you had one thing to say, one piece of advice to give the viewer right now that you just feel right now,
Yeah.
like a thing to give them from you to help them along in their journey, what would that piece of advice be?
Oh, man, just one.
It could
Shit.
be anything. It could
Yeah.
be a few if you want.
Yeah.
I mean, so like one piece of advice, I feel like it's just me as a person. Like I'm just being because I can't really speak to everybody, but like maybe something I would tell my younger self.
Okay.
Um, I would tell my younger self not to waste time, like don't take time for granted, because
Mm.
I feel like obviously we all do that, but I feel like if I, this is very tough, because like if I knew what I knew now, you do things different, but how can you know that,
Yeah, yeah. You
So
still gotta live your life.
yeah,
Yeah.
but obviously if I could get like even my little brother, I always tell him, like yo, time is precious, like you never know what's gonna happen, and especially you want to be, ahead of yourself, just want to. So I would say my main advice is don't take time for granted, even though you're young, you still want to work as hard, yeah. So that would be my
It's
main
Like
fire.
that.
advice.
It's good.
Some
That's a
good
good one.
advice. I give the same shit to my to my youngest self.
Yeah.
That I definitely feel like there's a lot of time that I could have used for other things. But shit,
Yeah.
man, that's also how we grow, man. That's also like for you realizing that's like you know what you don't want to do, so
Yeah,
it becomes
exactly.
valuable somehow. You know what I mean?
Yeah, then you appreciate it more.
For
Exactly.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How about you, Lewis? What you thinking? What piece of advice would you give the viewer right now?
Uh, I feel like going back to what we were talking about earlier, like having the balance, how you were mentioning, like, we have to have that balance, whether it be, yeah, you want to be a beast, you want to work and all that stuff. Just how we had to like take a break from the podcast, like, it got a little bit busy towards the end of the summer. Just having that balance and like not beating yourself up about it too, because like that's what we did. We're like, you know what, it's like it's cool. We're not gonna shoot for a couple weeks, but we'll get right back to it type shit. And it's like, just having that balance, understanding that sometimes you gotta pause something, but at the same time, you're not necessarily like you're not putting it aside because you always still that's still in the back of your mind. Like you still brainstorming ideas, you're still doing things behind the scenes that although it might seem like you're not working at it, you're still putting in work. So, but that goes all with having a balance and understanding that if you don't have that, like you said, you're gonna burn out. And it's like if I'm not giving the best of myself to a client, to a relationship, to a friendship, like
True.
it's not gonna be good. It's not a good outcome. Yeah. So what about you? What you got?
Me, I think it's building up a bit on what both of you are saying, and also just what's been going on in life for me like recently. My piece of advice is to remember, and specifically remember how much of a fucking beast you are,
Mm.
right? And I mean, like, for us three, and then for everybody who's watching this, like, we all have a certain amount of experience, right? Sometimes, just through living life, you may even fucking forget all the shit you've been through because you're so in the moment, and
Yeah.
you're just thinking about what you're doing in that moment that you forget, like, oh shit, I've accomplished this, I've accomplished that, and you do celebrate those. Like for me personally, you celebrate those in the moment, but you keep moving forward for the next thing
Yeah.
because you want to continue to build and you want to continue to get better and all that. But sometimes you have to take, like, when you do take a step back, use those moments, like the with the time that you want to decompress or whatever. Use that moment to realize how much of a fucking beast you are. Like for example, my experience was being in the studio. Like I haven't been coming to the studio for a while during the pandemic and stuff like that. I started picking back up, coming to the studio, hearing shit that I haven't heard like in since the beginning of the pandemic. That Lewis played me, and I'm like, yo, what the fuck? And then hearing shit from like years ago, I'm like, oh, this is why I'm still doing this,
Yeah.
because I have something to say. I'm a fucking problem with everything that I do. And that's not even to like toot my own horn. Is literally to also mention to you guys that you've done
Yeah.
so many things that you should and are proud of, but sometimes you lose sight of that. And even if you do, there's always a moment. Take that moment and remember that you're a fucking beast. You're here for a reason. You've gotten to where you are for a reason, and just continue to build it up. But just don't lose sight of who you are and keep it pushing. Remember, it's
It's
lit.
big fact.
Great stuff.
Yeah.
Big talk, baby.
It's a good way to wrap up. Big Talk episode 15.
Thank you for coming on, my brother.
Hey, thank you for having
Bro.
me, bro.
Appreciate you.
Thank you.
Good stuff, man.
Thank
You were
for
great.
having me.
It's lit.
Good stuff, Flaco.
Good job, everybody.
Good stuff.
Good stuff.